Please welcome Jeff Woods and Nikki SIxx.
Good morning.
I love you!
How can you love this face?
He was there when I really woke up.
You mentioned a couple of the things you do, Nikki. You didn't mention all of them. Photographer is one that a lot of people are excited about right now.
Yes, thank you.
The record, the book, the two go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Tell us why you chose to bring up the subject matter that you chose to bring up.
Well, 6 a.m. was working on a second record, and the only direction we really had was to just elevate ourselves as songwriters. And most of our influences are from those 70s, and I still feel that was some of our best songwriting, 60s and 70s, but really the 70s we hit a really amazing pinnacle, I think, with songwriting. But we didn't have anything really to tie it in with besides life experiences, and I was going through an experience where I was doing a lot of photography, and I was trying to explain it in text. And the concept of doing a book of photography needed explanation because I'm not a known photographer at this point. So I wanted to sort of dig into what each photo did, and I didn't realize I would end up writing 500 pages without a ghostwriter. Then I had the problem of having this sort of War and Peace novel with all this photography, which was overwhelming. And when I got myself an editor and a book company, we whittled it down to being a pretty interesting story, which really started with me being very young and seeing life differently. And I was able to look at Motley Crue and realize that a lot of what I pushed for in Motley Crue was because of this same way that I see life. And it was coming out of the photography, and it was coming out of the stories, it was coming out of my personal experiences as a teenager, and whether it was the rebellion or the passion for fashion, so to speak, always, it all sort of converged, and that was, as we were writing this record, this is long, right? It started to affect the songwriting with me and James and DJ, and then the songwriting started to influence me as a photographer, and we started realizing that on one level or another, each one of us, as the three members of a band, felt a bit outcasted, and I don't think that's unusual for human beings, especially when you're a teenager. But there were things that we did to help make that happen, which was to have our own opinions, stand up for things that we believed in, which made you even more on the fringe of what society would deem the correct way of thinking, the correct way of looking, correct way of conducting yourself. And there's a lot of really important messages that get sent to people that are sometimes fucked up messages. And I was able to look at my photography and realize what some of that meant.
Some of the words that fans have used to describe your photos: fantastic, deep, strange, disturbing, bleak, certainly beautiful. If you could have one word to kind of summarize to someone who hadn't seen any of the photos, my photos are,
In one word.
yeah,
Your word. So my last thing I said. One word. That's hard.
Imagine someone, if you like, who can't see.
Can't see.
Yeah. What's the emotion that you would want to convey to them about what it is you do with your photography?
Honest. That's it. And for me, it's a bit. I feel honored to photograph people because I get to pull out of them something that I know that they're sharing only with me. I've had people break down in tears in photo sessions and stuff because I'm yelling, throwing things. It's literally because the connection gets so close that they spill the truth, and it comes out in the photos. Some of the photography with like St. Augustine was some of the most moving stuff, and we documented everything. that's the other thing that's going to be coming, is there's going to be this sort of docu-series thing where we'll be able to introduce to you who I got to see. I think that's important because you do ask me what is with these photos, and you're going to get words, but when you have them explain their life, it's really beautiful.
Kroll is a great doctor. He did a book called The Beauty Parade, and when I saw some of the images you've created, it reminded me of that. To some, they'll be disturbing. To some people on Facebook, evidently, 267,000 followers of Nikki on Facebook. I don't know of anyone with more. I was blown away by the exchange of ideas between you and the followers, specifically around the idea of what is disturbing, what is appropriate on Facebook. And some people have had photos that you've done pulled from their Facebook.
It was interesting because I didn't think about it. I used to really love MySpace, and I kind of fought against Facebook. It didn't seem creative enough for me. And then I was sort of left hanging out there, and I was only really using Twitter as a way to kind of just do what everybody does with Twitter, just kind of little text messages to the world. And I was enjoying sending a lot of positive messages, and finally decided to catch up with everybody else and get into Facebook. And so I uploaded a couple of my photos because there's really not, at least for me at the time when I first started, there was really not an area where I could have a gallery, and it's all about that for me, right? And so I uploaded some photos and they were deleted, and I was sent notices telling me that to not do that, and so of course I did that again. Shocking. And again I got another notice, and so then I put up a photo of a transgender that I shot, and this is a man who's turning into a woman, but is stuck in between, so he's still not a woman. And I put the photo of him up, and he has breasts, and they pulled that and said no female nudity. And I said, okay, we're onto something here. Someone's asleep at the wheel. So then I took the 6 a.m. single up, which has no nudity, but it does have a model who half of her face is melted off. And she's extremely beautiful, in my opinion. And they then deleted that and told me if I do it again, that they're going to delete my account. And I reached out to my lawyers and I said, I don't really feel that that's fair to stop somebody from trying to spread a positive message when they're not even really manning the ship. It feels to me that they're allowing photos of I would think, inappropriate photos of very young girls and boys. A lot of them in their teens, but they're telling me that we can't put up this photo of a single that is on Amazon and iTunes. So I kind of just did a little blast out to the fans and wanted their input. It was amazing because 200,000 fans all changed their profile to that picture. And, it was a pretty nice fuck you. So then they're not worried about what I'm doing, but they're starting to delete fan pages. And James Michael, lead singer from 6 a.m., calls me and goes, they deleted the photo from my thing. So I don't know, I started feeling a little bit frustrated and kind of wanted to reach out maybe to Mark Zuckerberg and talk to him, but I decided to post some half-naked photos of myself last night, since they're allowed to have teenagers on there. I'm an adult, so, and they don't seem to have a problem with that, so I'm very confused. I just know that this is an interesting situation, and I love the way the fans have all sort of bonded together and understanding the message behind the lives of the beautiful people. And that it's not really about your outside, it is about your inside, And it is a bit of a cliche, but I think it's one that needs to be used right now. A lot.
It's a real statement about the subjectivity involved in looking at images, because an image of that versus an image of, say, a hardcore Republican, which might be disturbing to some of us, it's not resolved yet, and you're gonna kind of carry it through and see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think in the end, you have a really big corporation. They're not a public company. They're privately owned. But there's so many moderators and people that work underneath the actual owners of the company that make. So I understand. I think it would be an interesting conversation to have with Mark Zuckerberg. You know, even on my radio show, where I like to have debates about stuff like this, because I would love to be told I'm wrong. I mean, I don't have a problem with being wrong. I've done that a lot. But somebody has to look at the issue and see what's going on here, because it is. Maybe Facebook is not the place for art. You know, maybe there's other places for art, but maybe it's also not a place for, you know, a version of child pornography either.
They give you a photo gallery, so we should be able to post photos, right?
Yeah.
Nikki, The Dirt was ghostwritten by Neil Strauss, and the interview portions of Heroin Diaries largely compiled by Ian Gittins. This is a book that you've done in your own pen, at your own keyboard. You sit at the computer late at night and basically come up with the thoughts of the day.
This is gonna hurt. Or what?
The new book, yeah.
Yeah.
This is you. This
Yeah.
is you out naked in the cold, doing your own thing without the help of other writers.
I didn't want to use a ghostwriter, and you know, it's a lot more work than I thought. I mean, it's a lot of work to write a book. I really appreciate that in other writers, you know, now.
Were there any that you were inspired by that you said, I want to emulate sort of the style of?
You know, I write in a tempo that is very much a Beat Generation style writer. That's who influenced me the most. And I love the tempo of like Jack Kerouac, and I love the tempo of Allen Ginsberg. I just love the way it rambles, but in time to itself. And I was able to just go off into this land of doing that, and ended up, you know, hundreds and hundreds more pages than are needed in a book, you know, probably some tirades and such. But I think that's important, to just be super creative and then kind of come back and find out what the real message was, and then talking to my friends and giving manuscripts to people and having them give me feedback, and then found a great editor, and he was able to give me some good direction, but I actually wrote the whole thing myself, which I'm very proud of. I think fans deserve that, you know. I think it's a bit not fair, you know, when you buy a book and it's from that artist, but they didn't write it. You know, I don't want to do that anymore.
Great Canadian drummer named Neil Peart to describe writing, or the style of writing that he had, was he had to decide what the reader needs to know. What did you reveal that you thought everyone needed to know that you hadn't revealed in past books?
Well, I mean, not being a professional writer, I didn't have an outline. I didn't really have an idea what I was doing. I was basically trying to do self-therapy, I think, and just trying to figure out what a lot of this stuff meant. And in real time, as I was writing it, the plot sort of came out. And it's an interesting way to write. I would like to try the other way, where I have a beginning and end, and I just fill it in, you know. But this way, it was just all over the place and crazy. And I would do a photo session, and then I would spend 100 pages writing about what that photo session meant to me, and what about the interaction was. And then I would write something, and then I would have to go to a photo session, because that was something out from my childhood I needed to sort of resurrect it.
One fed the other.
It did. It fed it, and that's how the 6 a.m. album came to be.
You talk about writing as a therapeutic device. More so than music? Same? Different?
Music is hard as a lyricist, because you only have a certain amount of words. And Vince would always tell me, you know, why do you have so many words? And Shout at the Devil is a great example. He's like, why is there so many fucking words? I go, because I got a lot to fucking say. And he'd go, okay, but can you, like, in some future songs, like, try to... And I was always trying to jam as much in there. So I think as a lyricist, working with James is a great example, because he's so in control of where the melody goes and where he's going to bring his voice to, that I'm able to sort of let go a little bit and let the song be a simpler message, but having the book to accompany it and get to go off. And you know, I don't know if that's something we'll do in the future or not with 6 a.m. I mean, we didn't really plan on doing a book and then a soundtrack to a book and then a book of photography and then sort of a soundtrack to a book of photography and a documentary. I mean, I don't know. I'm starting to kind of go like, what's next for us? Like a movie and then a soundtrack to a movie. With, you know, I don't know where we're going to go, but I feel something really special about 6 a.m. The fact that we don't really intend on touring. We just intend on being really in tune with the stuff that's happening with each one of us as people and connecting with fans and trying to maybe say something no one else has said.
You characterized the photos as honest. How would you characterize the record as somebody who hasn't heard the full album?
Well, the record is very honest as well. There's a lot of the songs that you will be able to eventually go, oh, I see where they were going. I see the photos. I see this sort of tragic beauty, and I see this chapter, Lies of the Beautiful People, is a chapter in the book. You know, it is a song. And it's a message. There's many of those. Then there are those that stand on their own. One of my favorite songs on the album is It Sure Feels Right. And it's a love song to Los Angeles, so I can get booed now, right? We're not in Los Angeles, but it's just the fact that, you know, I think as human beings, people will be able to relate to this song because it's really about just driving. The whole song takes place in the front seat of a car. And you're just driving, and you're trying to figure your life out. And that's what I was really digging deep during this record and this book, and just driving. And there's this moment where the sun just popped through the clouds, and it's just the song just kind of happened. And me and James and DJ were in this hotel, and we were writing this music, and we said, let's just write this song that is the best feeling song that we've ever written. Like, let's just step outside our comfort zone. It's purely a pop song. It's really amazing.
What a vocal too. What a voice he has.
The guy's voice is just great. I don't know. I feel so honored to be able to be in a band with him. And he's such a great friend. He's such an honest guy, and he's always willing to take a chance too. And there's a song on the album called Goodbye Dear Friends, and I said, I want to write a song that's played at my funeral. And he goes, I just love you so much, you're so fucked up. And that's what the song is. It's the song that I think needed to be written. When you get to a place in your life where you go, the end is, you can see the end, you know? So you realize it. So what do you want to say at that moment? And basically the song is, you basically say, I don't have anything to apologize for. So it's kind of a fuck you at the same time, yeah? But it's really a beautiful song.
Remember as a kid, we never really thought that there was an end. And then one day...
Well, you realize, right? And then you start to do things differently, and that's a really exciting part of this journey.
Is it through almost dying? Was it through the darkest periods that taught you that mortality is in fact a real thing, or was it something even deeper than that? When did you start waking up and saying, I'm so thankful that I'm still here? It became a different perspective on life.
I think, you know what, I can only speak from my experience that it seems like it's unraveling the whole time. I don't know if you've experienced that, but things I thought in the 20s and then into my 30s and my 40s, they actually change. And I believe that you can renegotiate where you're at in your life. And things that you believe in, too, sometimes can change. You know? And maybe that's kind of part of the beauty. And as an artist, you know, you're able to keep sort of evolving. And I look with Bowie and I see how he evolved as a musician and as his songs, like what was going on with him personally. And a lot of times people try to hold you accountable for change, you know, and they say, well, you know, how come you're not doing this? And I understand that. I do understand that. But it's just kind of part of human nature to change, you know. I don't think you have to just hit a certain age and go, you know, I'm done. I mean, I think if you look at great artists that are out there, they're still painting, doing photography, writing books, they're touring, they're writing music, and they do it into their, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. They keep going. Look at the Stones, you know. I just think that we're kind of in a really magical period. If we've survived that, imagine like what's in front of us.
It goes back to the whole beauty myth of what is beautiful. Just because somebody's 79 few wrinkles doesn't mean he or she can't produce great art.
The wrinkles are the important part.
Show the smiles, show the pain, show the life. You talk about driving and having a lot of thoughts that inspire music. What about riding motorbikes? You're still riding, aren't you?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Not as much as I used to.
It's easier down there in the nice weather. What's the difference between the thought pattern of escaping on a motorbike versus being behind the wheel?
You know, I had this experience on a motorcycle about 10 years ago. I had a bike built for me, and the chain locked up. It was a hardtail. And I was doing about 50 miles an hour, and it just locked up on me. And it was this moment of, like, I realized there's this thing called pavement. And yeah, and it kind of, you know, I admit it kind of put a little bit of a damper on me riding as much as I used to, because I kind of realized, I have 4 children, and I got a lot going on, so I think skydiving is another thing, you know, start to, maybe I'll put that on the back burner.
That's one of those things you do once, and if you survive, you go, that's it.
Skydiving was one of the greatest highs I ever got. I loved it.
Did you do it more than once?
I did like 4 times in one day, because I'm an addict. and then I went, I should never do this again, because I'll be that guy.
You did a total free fall?
Well, you know, when you first start, you gotta have somebody tandem, which was a little uncomfortable. Very large man.
You have to get a lady and stuff.
I liked it.
You once said chicks equals trouble. How's that equation going for you now? Has it changed?
No, you know what? It needs to get a sip of water here. I'm feeling like I better just went, Saved by the Bell. Oh, is that me?
Might be a chick.
So, next question.
If you don't deal with your demons, they will deal with you, and it's going to hurt.
Yes.
You've dealt with a lot. You've slayed a few. Are there more to be slayed?
Well, this is the thing. I don't know, but I know that every day, you know, for me, it's like this thing where I'm always trying to become a better man, a better father, a better artist. I'm trying to put a lot of positive energy out there. I'm trying to kind of change what the model looks like of being a rock star. You know, I still want to say fuck you, but at the same time, I want to do something really positive. Whether it's starting a charity we're helping a charity for runaway kids, because that's something that's dear to my heart, or stuff that's going to be coming in the future. I just want to keep evolving, and I don't really know where I'm going 100%. I'm going to just keep making music. I'm just getting started as a photographer. I can see myself getting into movies, behind the lens in the future. I have so much creativity when I'm open about it. I think when any artist is open about it, it's there, you know. And so every little experience, everything that happens every day sort of gets accumulated into this bubble, and then it kind of pops and it turns into a song or an idea or a blog or something stupid I say on the radio, which is a whole interesting animal right there. I'm not sure, you were born why I'm still in the air.
You were born to talk on the radio. It seems like a natural thing for you. How are you enjoying it?
When we first started doing the radio show, I kept thinking every time I would talk that what I'm saying is being heard, and it's going to stay out there like a song, right? So I write a song, and you have it, and you can listen to it anytime you want for the rest of your life, and then it goes on and on and on. So I was thinking the same thing about radio, but you see, we're going so fast. And I couldn't really go, well, I'm not really sure about that chorus. It's like, it's done. It's like I said it. And I've said a few things that I went, oh, it's too late. And what I realized about radio is kind of like giving birth, but to dust. Like it comes out, and then it just dissipates. It doesn't turn into a living, breathing human being. So I'm able to then, at least that's how I figured out in my head. So what I'm able to do is not edit myself, not worry if I'm being cool, not worry if I'm being uncool, just do it. And I have such a great bunch of people around me that are writers and producers and Carrie Case is a wonderful co-host, and we fight like cats and dogs, and I think that's just really, it's really something I love. I mean, I'm just really having a good time with it. I don't know what we're doing. But when we got picked up at the airport here, the guy picked me up and goes, I listen to your show every night. I go, what do you like about it? Because you guys make me laugh and make me realize that everything's just cool. Like, life's just, is all right. And it's like, thinking that's a pretty cool thing to be able to do.
Explore Music wears English Laundry apparel.